Everybody, welcome to Goose's Wrestling Pod. We are back with the Survivor Series. First of all, Andrew Lee, check out my shirt. What do you think?
Nice.
Earthquake.
Earthquake.
Yeah.
The quake.
This is one of the last shows he does for WWE. Before we get
One of
in,
the last Survivor Series 1992 is one of the last shows he does.
yeah, one of the last pay-per-views he does. He's got like one more, then he goes away. And then he comes back in 94 for like a minute, and then he just goes and then he goes away permanently. Um Before we get into Survivor Series 92, a couple of breaking news stories. We're recording this on Wednesday. We're actually recording it during Dynamite. Guys, that's how bad Dynamite's been, or how little faith we have in this company, that we're not even watching Dynamite. We're recording a podcast about Survivor Series 92.
Well,
But
I don't even watch WWE at this point. I just follow all the news and I'll just binge watch something.
well,
I go on a binge watch period.
I'll tell you, if the press conference tomorrow is like Cody is gonna, yeah, that happened. That's been going on. If the press conference tomorrow, Cody's like, I'm gonna fight Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and it is gonna be Rock and Roman, I'm not gonna watch Raw or SmackDown until WrestleMania. I'll read about it and I'll read everybody on Twitter yelling and screaming about it, but I just won't watch Raw or SmackDown. I'll do something else because
I actually watched the Hechicero versus Brian Danielson match on Collision last Saturday. That was all right.
yeah, I mean,
I don't watch like full shows anymore. I just
I
skip
mean,
through.
you know what gets me about the AEW fan base? So they kicked off Dynamite with Hangman Page and Swerve. And
When last Dynamite?
yeah, tonight, the one that happened. It's
Oh,
currently,
tonight already. Oh, okay.
and people are these same. I hate Dave thinking it's already instant classic, one of the best matches AEW ever did. I go, guys, you say that every week. Every week you tell me some fucking random match at Dynamite is the best match Dynamite ever did. Like how is it every week they have? And then whenever I watch Dynamite, I'm like falling asleep, and then the next day you're like, oh, that was the best match ever. 27 stars.
The fan base is stupid. I will give you that. Fan base is
There's
stupid.
nobody. There's nobody in the. And I think tonight the big announcement, and we'll confirm it. I'll check Twitter as we're recording. The big announcement tonight is Sasha Banks is coming. She's gonna wind up being just like Edge. And you know what I think? You know how people are thinking that WWE's fumbling Okada and Camille and Sasha. This is what I think. I think they see that Sasha Banks might go to Triple H. Well, Tony Khan will give me like $90 billion, right? And
Wait, you
Triple
got to
H,
give people some background on this. What you're saying is Camille, formerly of NWA, she's a free
yeah,
agent, and
yeah,
so all signs at the beginning pointed to her going to WWE. At this point, now they're saying
she's not.
she's maybe more likely going to AEW.
Yeah.
Okada is going to become a free agent from New
He
Japan Pro
already is. He already
Wrestling.
is.
He already is.
Yeah.
No, no, he has some. He has some. Oh yeah, that's right. It just
January
we're in
31st.
February. It's already over. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's also more likely to go to AEW.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And tonight, apparently, the announcement will be Sasha Banks is coming. This is what I think WWE's doing. I think they see that there's no attendance. Nobody's in these buildings. Again, tonight's an empty building, right? And so if you're operating like a comedy club, right? And you go, I'll give you $25 spot. But if your show's already sold out, I'll give you $25 spot. And they're like, well, this club across the street will give me $97 a spot. But nobody's coming to that club. You're gonna be like, all right, go work that club. Go get your $97 because they're gonna be done soon because they want to pay you all that money. You're not gonna get anyone in. So go. I think that's what they're doing. They're like, all right, Camille's not gonna get anyone. Okada's not gonna get anyone. Mercedes isn't gonna get anyone, and they're gonna be back. It's gonna be Mercedes Bernardo or Simone versus Ruby Soho on Rampage in front of like 20 people. So it's like, all right, go get that money because that's good. Tony Khan, overpay everyone and don't draw a single extra fan. That's fine. Go do that.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah. You know what? Tony Khan's family has more money than the WWE right now, and that's fine. And if he can offer a wrestler more money, and the wrestler goes there, that's good for them. Good for
Yeah,
everybody. I
good for
don't
them.
care.
But
I'll still get to see them on on regular American shows. So that's fine with me.
that's fine. But
Everybody wins.
I
Everybody wins, dog.
if you think that Sasha Banks is gonna get AEW even one extra fan, you're out of your mind. She's gonna be performing for 1,000 people and like she's gonna mean nothing in a month. Dude, the way they've devalued Edge is insane to me. I can't believe how they devalued Edge so fast.
Um, yeah, I mean he has. I think, but I always knew that was gonna happen.
They did it
You
really fast.
can't use the name Edge, and that stuff is very important. That stuff is
No, but
really important.
I'm shocked how fast they did it. Like, I thought that like, I kind of thought Edge I don't know. Well, you know what?
I love how like you like to like pounce on anything negative AEW. It's so like
Because dude, every time
like
I give them a
it's
chance,
like you take their success and failure so personally. It's funny.
every time I get me, you know why? Because it's their fans. I don't like their fans. I don't like Tony. I genuinely don't like Tony. I know that
You know what it
Vince,
is? You have too many friends that are hardcore AEW. That's the
because
problem.
they can't, because yeah, and
No,
it's like
because I don't. These people, they're not in my life, so it doesn't bother me. You know?
I yelled at about Eddie Kingston. I told you that. Like,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. You got
people,
too many people in your life. You got to cut them out, man. Because if you cut them out and you hurt this shit less, I bet you enjoy AEW more. Because that's like I don't
but
have
you
any
know
of these
what though?
people in my
I've tried to enjoy AEW. We tried during the whole pandemic, and it's just like it's not an enjoyable show. And let me tell you what else is not
You
an
know what? There were a lot of things you did enjoy. That CM Punk thing was amazing, right?
yeah, but
You
then
got
they
to give him.
eventually
Let's give him
and
credit,
I
right?
loved Edge and Christian's promos back and forth. The first
Yeah.
Edge promo,
Hmm.
and they just fuck it up. And you know what the problem is? Is that like right now the Cody Rock thing is being treated as the most important thing in WWF. Whether you like it or not, it's treated as this is so much more important than everything else going on, right? And AEW, the problem with AEW is they treat like Hangman and Swerve with the same importance as like the best friends versus Eddie Kingston. And it makes everything mean nothing.
That's true. I still think the booking and shit is awful because it's Tony Khan.
But I just
But
think like,
I still want them to succeed because if they succeed, it's just gonna be better for everybody.
you know,
You know?
but my thing is like they would succeed without Tony Khan. Like they need Tony Khan's money, but he
Yeah.
doesn't have a say anymore. Like he's just never. My other thing, he's never gonna adjust to get more. Like there's nobody in the buildings anymore, Andrew. No one's going to these
You
shows
know what it is? It's like a catch-22. You can't. They need him obviously because without him, there is no company. But at the same time, the company will never improve with him in charge.
the more of his stamp, the less people want to see it. And
Yeah, it's interesting.
speaking of somebody, and you know what, I've done some thinking about this, and I think I know why Scott Demore has been fired today from TNA. It's very weird. I have a couple of theories. Here's the bottom line, though. Me and Andrew Lee, we watched a lot of TNA during Andrew Lee's reign, during Scott Demore's reign. For every good show, there were 9 unwatchable shows. He
I
wasn't
agree.
that good of a leader. He put himself on TV way too much. He put Tommy Dreamer on TV way too much. He's main eventing shows in 2021 with Rich Swann and Tommy Dreamer. I understand a lot of wrestlers liked him, but that Fed is like the land of failures. Like you can say what you want about Eddie Kingston, Eddie Edwards, Moose, Alicia Edwards, Tommy Dreamer. These are all fucking losers. Of course, they're gonna love a guy who keeps them employed for 6 years on national TV and lets them do whatever they want. So everyone
People are
liked
upset. I'm looking at it. People are upset.
dude.
Like some of these
You know
guys
who?
are people are
So yeah,
like
I
like Jordan Grace is upset. Speaking of Jordan Grace, you want to hear my theory?
what
I'm wondering if that Royal Rumble appearance is part of the reason why he got fired. Like he didn't get it covered by anybody. He made that decision on
that
his
might have been
own.
it. They might have been like, all you do is get over AEW, all you do is get over WWE. You don't get our guys over. Like
Yeah,
Grace
like they
eliminated
go like,
anyone?
why didn't you negotiate her eliminating some people?
Yeah.
Like and then when they were like, you're making these terrible decisions on your own, like and they got into argument and they're just like, you know what, man, you gotta go. That's
He
maybe,
shouldn't
right?
be on. Here's the first thing: guy shouldn't be on TV. I don't give a fuck how nice he is. He
Yeah,
shouldn't.
yeah, he shouldn't be. You're right. He shouldn't.
He's
Why
horrible
can't he just why can't he just be the president behind the scenes, right?
because all these guys are marks for themselves, including
Yeah,
Vince McMahon. They're all marks for themselves.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, but he's not Vince McMahon, and And the Tony Khan deal, I think, did way more damage to them than hell. Tony Khan would go on that fucking TV and bury them and talk about what idiots they are. And then he would send them under machine guns. They would be booked to look like morons on the show. Like he would just it was a horrible deal. And then, like, he's made the big push of Slammiversary was Scott D'Amore's coming back into the ring. Scott D'Amore has never drawn a single dollar. The guy was a nobody. This is like the equivalent of, like, fucking Barry Horowitz taking over a company, and the big angle for WrestleMania is Barry Horowitz going to wrestle again. Nobody gives a fuck. I'm sure you're a great guy to hang out with or to do deals with. That doesn't mean I want to see you on my fucking TV, you fat pig. And
So a
his
couple
pro
of things on this. Some people are saying Tony Khan should hire him,
No,
right?
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And people like Moose are very upset. By the way, Moose, I listened to his interview and
Hmm.
Chris Van Fleet, and he says the reason why he always kept re-signing with TNA was because he was super loyal to Scott D'Amore, because Scott D'Amore is the one who told him to get into wrestling and like made him get into wrestling.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering now with him gone, Moose is probably gonna be like, I want out.
Where is he
I
gonna
want
go?
I think he could go with WB. He's like friends with Bobby Lashley. You don't think they'll put in a good word? He's a
I
big dude too. I think he'll be good for WWE. I
I
think so.
I don't see. I don't. I they don't really need him. I mean, the
They
I would
don't need him, but they didn't need fucking Tegan Knox. They fucking hired her, right?
listen.
She there, bro.
Listen, she listen, and they can sell like fucking swimsuit calendars with her. They can't do that with Moose.
Yeah, they didn't. They have like Candice LeRae. They got like so much fucking useless talent in WWE, just as much as.
Exactly. So why do you need more? Same thing with
Remember the
AEW.
women's
They got a
rumble?
bunch.
And when the women's rumble, there was like a fucking
Dude,
huge
some of those women got
period.
nothing. Nothing.
What?
Like, no pops. Nothing. Like when
Yeah, there was this huge point of the women's rumble where it was like the women were so generic. You
yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
they were. I felt like they were all wearing the same outfit. They had came out with the same music. I'm like, if you're gonna hire all those people, you can hire Moose. You know?
I think they need to. I think both companies need to let some people go.
Yeah.
Here's my other. So my first theory is that they agreed with me that he stunk. I don't think he was good. Everyone's saying how good he was. They didn't watch the show.
I
Nobody
didn't watch
actually
the show.
watches
Those
this
people
show.
did not watch the show.
If
Yeah.
if you don't watch the show and you hear Jordan Grace go like he's so fucking great, okay, you're gonna take our face value. Watch the fucking show.
Yeah.
He has
Most
Tommy
of these
Dreamer pitted.
fans never watched
Yeah, they
TNA.
don't watch this fucking. And if
They
you
didn't
watch
watch.
it, dude, Wrestle House. That's all I have.
I remember I was talking to some friends and we were making an argument about Jay White, and I was saying how like this is after AEW signed Jay White, and I was saying like he ain't gonna draw anything, and he's like a mid card guy. Nobody watches the program from, and they were trying to argue with me, and I was like, he was in like TNA, and nobody gave a fuck. You guys know, and they were like, he was in TNA. It was like, yeah, he was in TNA for a while,
He wrestled
and
Eric Young on a pay per view.
yeah, and I was like, you guys didn't even know he was there. I was watching that garbage. And I was like, this is how I know like he's not gonna do anything in he's not gonna do anything in AEW. I like Jay White,
He
but dude,
hasn't done any.
for a fact, I was even when he was headlining Wrestle Kingdom, I've been saying since day one, he's mid card at best. Do you remember this? And I
Yeah,
was saying, like, everyone was going, oh, WWE needs to hire him. And I was like, no, dude, he's in the fucking ring with Okada. He's going to look good, but he's mid
but you
card
know
at best.
what? He's a loser in AEW, but it's because of the booking. He was
Oh my God. Absolutely.
they ruined him in that match with
Oh,
MJF. That match with MJF ruined him. He should have won
dude,
the belt that day.
he should have went to WWE. You know why? Because they would have never, even if he's not the top guy in WWE, they would have never done this to
Dude, he's
him.
now isn't he like he's with now he's like working with the Acclaimed. I mean, come on.
He's a trios champion right now. Like, what the fuck is going on? This guy should be like a contender for like Samoa Joe.
Because this is what they do. He hires these fucking people, and then he just takes away any value they have. Tony Khan. I'm talking about Tony Khan. He just takes away any value they have, and he just keeps hiring. And then like he's like it's like a little kid. It's like, oh look, a new toy, a new DVD set. Wait a minute. Oh my god, a new CD. I'm gonna listen to CD set. Oh my god, another new CD. Ah.
He
And then
ducks
no
what
one
they
has.
have, and he gives it to Sky Blue and Julia Hart. He gives them their energy, and that's
Yeah, and dude, it's like anyway. But I have two other theories about Scott D'Amore. The other theories I have about him is number one, they found out some weird shit about him, and they were like, "Get him the fuck out," because of the Vince McMahon shit and the Johnny Ace shit. They found out some strange stuff about him. Now, remember, he is dating one. That's the other thing that's a conflict of interest. He's dating one of the talents who has never gotten over anywhere else on the planet, has never really performed anywhere, and they're pushing her as the top heel, and she's beating up Jordan Grace and Trinity. And I'm not saying anything about Giselle Shaw. I'm not saying that she's bad, and I'm not saying she doesn't deserve the spot. But don't you think the owner's girlfriend being pushed as the top star in a women's division is a little conflict of interesting? That's not
Of
that.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, do you know what this would be like? This would be like if like Vince McMahon was having sexual relations with like Jacqueline, and he was like, "I'm gonna make you the cruiserweight champion." You
well,
know, it's a
she
conflict
did have
of
the
interest.
cruiserweight title. You know that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
What?
she did have the cruiserweight title.
Yeah.
Ah,
Right? Who's getting in trouble now? Right?
uh, and then
Exactly. Right?
the other theory I have
Yeah.
is that he is going to go to WWE. They told him get fired to get out of your contract, and he purposely got fired. So you go to WWE and replace Triple H.
Did, did you? It's like an hour ago. Did you hear the other theory?
What's the other theory? That he's fat. What's the other theory?
No, he took a shit on Tommy Dreamer's head, and then he
No,
said,
Tommy Dreamer would like that. Tommy Dreamer would be
I'll
like,
put you on TV and make you relevant and make you the digital champion if you let me poop on your head." And they found that out.
I think it's a mix of I do think overall, if I was working for Anthem, I would not be happy with the job he did. I don't think he did that great of a job. I really don't. He did good enough, but that's about it. And if you're, they've gained not a single new fan. People still laugh about them. He's really done nothing. He's just gotten himself over because everyone is so upset he got fired. None of these people watch the show. So what did he do? He got himself over to the point now people think the company can't survive because he's gone. They can survive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll survive. By the way, the news coming out is that AEW and CMLL are
Mhm.
look. It looks like they're going to do like a
Have sex.
joint show, like do it like an invasion angle where they have multiple, just like a whole thing where they work
Yeah.
together. I would be down for that. I like that shit.
Yeah. And then the other big news is Johnny Ace's attorney has revealed to Vice. Everyone knew about the RC Massaro rape at the Tribute to the Troops show.
Actually, Lazaro.
Yeah, everyone knew in the back. And Johnny Ace is singing like a bird, that it was well known. And yeah. And that's why I think
Man, this guy is just singing. This guy is
singing.
telling he's going like he's revealing
You
everything.
can't trust the
Jeez,
kiss ass, bro. You can't trust the kiss ass because when they
man,
find a better ass to kiss, they'll kiss it. You can't surround yourself with yes men because um
so
dude,
true. You're absolutely
this
right,
is
man.
why I think this is why I think that The Rock is looking at people like Scott D'Amore to take over.
Oh yeah, dude. The Rock he can't be surrounded by these people.
You can't. You got it, dude.
Yeah,
If you don't
you
think
gotta get rid of
if you don't think
that.
Triple H, you got you got okay. If anyone from DKO is listening to this, you have to get rid of Triple H right away. I don't give a fuck about anything. I'm telling you right now. I am telling you as a as a guy who is known about the business and you can listen between the lines and saw the treatment of China. Just get rid of him right away. Tomorrow morning, you can. Just get rid of him. All right? I'm telling you, if you don't get rid of Triple H, you're gonna regret ever getting into business with these people.
Man, they gotta get rid of so many people, man.
Triple H number one. Listen. I actually think Triple H is doing a good job as the booker. It's not about the booking. He knows.
No, it's not about the booking. It
He
ain't about the
knows
booking.
something. He's not gonna. He's gonna try to fucking con you. He's gonna try to Tony Khan. No, he's not gonna try to Tony Khan.
Yeah.
I would recommend the options where you have to merge with AEW or keep Triple H around. I would say merge with AEW. I'm telling you, that's how serious I think the shit's about to hit the fan.
Very possible.
If
Very
I'm
possible.
I'm telling you right now, the wrestling business will suffer. There will be a huge loss of interest if they keep around Vince McMahon's inner circle in WWE. You have to get rid of them right away. And The Rock's reputation will suffer. No one's going to go see Jumanji 3. Triple H sticks around. I'm telling you. That so many, there's big business that will suffer if they don't act on this. It's just the way it is. I don't make the rules.
I think so. I think you're right, man. I think you're absolutely right.
I don't think Rock can recover from getting the business with these people unless he gets rid of them. And that's where Big Fat Daddy Scott D'Amore shit comes in. I mean, that Ashley Massaro thing, if they all knew it. So here's the other thing.
It's so crazy what's been happening in 2024. We're not even midway through February. So much has happened.
So
Rossi Ogawa, the guy
the Stardom thing. Yeah.
Stardom, he's out. He's been fired. The Impact Wrestling goes back to TNA Wrestling. Their champion is on Royal Rumble, and now their president is fired. All in 2024, dude. It's crazy. This is like Cody Rhodes' first back-to-back Royal Rumble winner since the 90s, bro. Since the 90s. This is so much has been happening. The Vince McMahon thing is just crazy.
It's crazy.
It's so much
a lot. Tomorrow's the big press conference. And everyone, when this drops, we're not going to speculate on what's going to happen there because
wait. Tomorrow's the big press conference. What do you mean?
The press conference announced the main event of WrestleMania. The Rock will be there. It's going to air on Peacock at 7, I think.
Oh, you think? Are they taking questions?
It's going to be like a big angle.
Dude,
this is sorry.
The last time Triple H took a question about that, it got really negative reaction.
Well, I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I think Rock is betting on someone asking about the Ashley Massaro thing.
Yes. Oh my God.
So Triple H can fuck up the answer, and then Rock and Brian Gewirtz can use that as justification to get him out of there.
Oh my God, someone is 100% going to bring that up, dude.
Well, if these reporters don't, if you're a reporter and you don't bring it up, you're a fucking
in Saudi Arabia. I don't want to bring it up with this negative talk. It was very positive.
Let's not be negative. Let's focus on positives. Everyone hates the main event.
That was a very positive year for us. Let's not bring up the negative.
Let's not speculate too much on this press conference because when this drops, it'll already have aired. So we can't. People are gonna be like, "We already saw this." So we can't speculate too much. And let me see. Yeah, a lot has happened this year. A lot has happened, and it's gonna be interesting. Listen, the next couple of months are gonna be very interesting. I think by the end of the year, it's gonna be a very different landscape in the wrestling business. Very different. So AEW is gonna have you know what? But AEW benefit. Instead of 1,100 fans, they'll have 1,200 by the end of the year.
The biggest things that haven't even we're still so far this year, we're still gonna see Okada debut in a US promotion, and we're gonna see Sting retire. The year is not even. There's so much already gonna be happening. This is amazing.
All right, so 5 weeks from tonight, AEW Dynamite in Boston. Big Business is the name. So it's basically their next last dance. It's big business.
Big business. I like that. Big business.
Monet. I'll tell you what's not going to be big. Their attendance. It's over. All right, guys. Speaking of events that nobody cared about, Survivor Series 92 is up next. This was a very different show. This was a ballsy show. People say that Vince had a big man fetish. I think it was very, very risky to remember. He only has 4 big shows in 1992, and to main event one of them with Shawn Michaels. Not even he was a rocker a year before this, and to main event with that guy, I thought he basically took a big risk on this show. What did you overall think of this show?
Was this because he was already in the steroid trials and stuff?
Yeah, and he had to fire Davey and Ultimate Warrior. So originally the main event is supposed to be Randy Savage and Ultimate Warrior versus Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. And British Bulldog was going to wrestle the Mountie. And then he had to fire Bulldog and Warrior for steroids. And he gave the belt to Brett because he was... But, you could have had Brett fight Earthquake. You could have had Brett fight a lot of guys in the main event. The fact that he went with Shawn Michaels... He's basically telling you what he's going to do the next few years.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like a statement show where he was like, "This is the new direction we're heading towards," right?
Yeah. I mean, if you it like looking at it like now, you're like, oh yeah, Shawn Michaels main evented. He's Shawn Michaels, but like he's not Shawn Michaels then, and he's main eventing this show.
Yeah, I would actually say, if you told me like on paper, right? If I'm looking at this on paper, I would be like, yeah, of course, it's a smart move to make, and you have to do it because of the steroid thing, and you want to go smaller and stuff. Watching it, it's a different story.
Yeah, because
It's not as dude. You know, I'm not a big Hulk Hogan fan or anything, but dude, it's a step down. It's a step down, 100%. You
well,
know?
okay, so the two main matches are very good matches. The rest of the show, not so much. When I was a kid, this show annoyed the shit out of me because there was no tag, there was no like true elimination matches, and no Hulk Hogan again. And yes, you're right, it's a step down. I when I finally watched this show, I was like, it made me feel like WWE was like losing. Like, did they lose money? Like, this does not feel like the same company from even like the summer. And but he has to transition, and sometimes when you transition, it's hard. And ultimately, it was probably for the best. No, I know a lot more about the steroid trial. It probably was for the best he had to do this.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know what?
like I get it. They had to make a transition and everything, and I totally get why it's Shawn Michaels in there with Brett, but it's just like, and
Just
it's
it
not.
was a
I'm
little
not
bit
even
too
saying.
soon.
I don't even think the pay per view is bad. It's just like there's no big fight feel.
It just
You know?
it feels less than. It's a good show. This is look. Here's the deal. I think Vince knew this. Bret Hart Shawn Michaels main event totally turned me off. I stopped watching, right? But if you kept watching, Vince knows Bret Hart is going to give you your money's worth. Like, I know people don't give a shit about this guy, but if you do give a shit about this guy, you're still willing to give me $30. You're going to get your money's worth when he goes in the ring. And he did. I mean, he gave me my $5 a month. Well, no, I watched it on DVD. He made me glad I have the DVD set. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not a bad pay per view. It's just like when you're watching the old pay per views with Hulk
Yeah,
Hogan or
yeah,
even Macho Man at the end, the matches are good, but there's the final match feels like a really big match, like a big fight, right?
yeah.
Like, oh wait, this is what everybody's here for. Oh, this is where it's gonna be like more stakes, more things are at stake. I didn't feel that way at all in this, but let's
No,
get into it. Survivor Series taking place on November 25th, 1992 in Richfield, Ohio. 18,000 people, right? It's not bad.
not bad.
There's no taglines, no intro videos, no Icon Pro, nothing. Junior just goes straight
Well, no, there's
and welcomes us.
there's no slick promo. You don't have a slick promo.
There was nothing, no slick promo, nothing.
Oh, on the DVD, the slick cuts a sermon about Thanksgiving and like forgiving your enemies and stuff.
Really? Reverend
Yeah,
Slick?
yeah. Slick starts the show with like a Thanksgiving sermon, and then it goes to Vince McMahon.
I wonder why they took that off of Peacock.
I don't know. That's weird.
Maybe
That's
it's
weird.
racist. Is it racist in any way?
No, I mean, wait. Let me ask you this. Later on, Vince says about Virgil he's shucking and jiving. Is that on the pay per view? Did you hear that?
No, I did not hear shucking and jiving, at least.
He
I
says
wasn't
Virgil shucking and jiving on the
maybe
DVD.
I wasn't paying a close
Do
attention, but
you,
I don't recall that.
do you think when they were like wow, that's funny. No one's ever mentioned this slick thing. Do you think when they were like taking out the Roddy Piper match and shit, they were like, let's take out this slick promo too because it's kind of racist.
Maybe they
I don't feel
did
it's
because
racist, but maybe they felt that way.
no, I think you're right because it was very weird. This was like there's no intro, nothing. It just goes straight to Junior
It was
welcoming us.
weird to have Slick cutting like a sermon anyway to start the show, but like I'm very surprised.
Maybe because of the sermon. They were like, it's too religious. I don't know. Who knows? Well, anyways, for me, it begins with Junior. If anybody actually finds out the reason why, that would be great. Mention it.
Yeah, I'm
So
wondering why they took out the Slick. So listen, you got to get this DVD set to see Survivor Series 92 with 100% more racism.
if you want to see, yeah, exactly. If you want us to full racism with
Dude,
WWF,
I was
you gotta
shocked
get.
when Vince said that Virgil was shucking and jiving. I couldn't
No,
believe.
you know what? I paid close attention to I think commentary during these,
Yeah,
and if I didn't write that down, that means I didn't hear it.
that
That's
that
a good
that
thing.
that like shocked me that he said that. I was like, what did you just say about Virgil? What did you just say, you fucking
All right.
idiot?
All right, so we're in Richfield, Ohio. It's a packed house. Junior, Vince McMahon Jr., he is on commentary with Bobby Heenan again. Once again, no Gorilla Monsoon. And
Yeah,
they
and
go,
Bobby Heenan
what?
really tries hard on this show, and Vince gives him nothing. He's not as bad as
What?
Jim Ross. He still plays along, but it's Gorilla would have given so much more, especially in the
Gave
perfect match.
him so much more, but it's definitely better than JR.
Yes, he does still try to play along. He does still try to play.
Yeah. But I wonder why Gorilla's not there. It's weird.
I think the reason why they hired JR was when they hired JR, it was told that Gorilla wanted to do less on camera.
What he was just
So,
getting lazy.
well, no, he was getting older, and I have a feeling that like they were like they were looking to hire somebody, and then Jim Ross kind of fell into their laps in a few months.
I
Yeah.
see. Well, Heenan and Junior, they start running over the card, and then when they get to the Mr. Perfect name, Bobby Heenan starts getting flustered because that's his former protege. But we're gonna go to our first match, the tag team match. High Energy, one of my favorite tag teams when I was a kid growing up. I know it's weird to say, but keep in mind I was like 10 years old or maybe
I
younger.
listen. I think they're better than the new foundation. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it
I
is.
If I had to rank the Owen Hart tag teams, because he has a lot actually, I would go with Owen and the Bulldog, followed by High Energy, then Owen and Jeff Jarrett, and then the final one would be the New Foundation. I'm sorry, Owen and Yokozuna would be above the New Foundation. Wow, he had 5 different tag teams.
Mm-hmm. Tag team specialist.
He was good.
Yeah. So
I
High
bet you,
Energy.
how much you want to bet if he lived, he would have been in a tag team with Benoit.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So High Energy is the Rocket Owen Hart and Kogel Beware. He's back in the company, guys. And
But he never left. He was just on the shitty shows. That's.
oh, he was in the shitty shows. Okay. So in the audience, you're gonna see this great Undertaker and Paul Bearer cosplaying kids. You're gonna show them again, but I thought that was like really cool looking. Anyways, it's High Energy versus the Head Shrinkers. That's right. Fatu and Samu.
The
Fatu is going on to
Bloodline.
be, yeah, he's gonna go on to be Rikishi, and Samu's gonna go on to be Samu. All right, and they're with one of the Wild Samoans, Alpha, who is their manager.
And also, is he Roman Reigns' dad, Alpha? Or is it Sika?
I don't know if he's Roman Reigns' dad.
I think Alpha's his dad. Roman Reigns' dad. Hold on. It's one of the original Samoans.
Really?
Yeah, Roman
Damn,
Reigns.
they have their kids late. Yeah, Sika is Roman
Oh,
Reigns'.
okay, all right.
Yeah, not Alpha, not the manager, Sika, the other one.
Okay.
Okay, so we have Samu and Owen Hart starting the match. Then Coco Beware gets in, and then Coco Beware is fun to watch, man. He does these things like does the head shrinkers have no fucking boots on, so he's like stomping on their bare feet and everything, and it's just like, yeah, that's what you would do if you see someone with fucking bare feet. It's great. But then Coco, he runs the ropes, and when he's running the ropes, Alpha's got this like staff or whatever, and he hits him with it really hard, and then the head shrinkers they start getting the beat down on Coco Beware. Samu then eventually hits the ring post, and then Coco makes a hot tag, and then Owen Hart comes in, he cleans house, but then he gets hit with a power slam, and then Fatu goes up on the top rope and does a top rope splash on Owen Hart for the clean victory. What did you think, man, of match number 1?
I thought this was it wasn't a squash match, but it was very close to that. I thought it was a good showcase of the head shrinkers.
Yeah.
They're the bloodline. They're gonna be the head of the table. No, it was a good showcase for them, and it was a good strong. Made me, and made me want. I know they eventually go nowhere, but it made me want to see more of them. I know, so funny because I know what happens. I know, but like, oh, I want to see now. I want to see more head shrinker matches. I thought it was pretty good, and I thought Owen Hart did a great job. Owen Hart's very good at getting you over, but also giving you a great match. And he doesn't look like a shit. He loses decisively, but he doesn't look like a shithead doing it. You know?
Yeah.
Really.
I was a big Head Shrinkers fan as well. I liked them a lot. And even when they switched partners, I still like them, you know?
Yeah. Well, the Barbarian right now is with Bill Watts.
Exactly. But you know how he'll eventually become a Head Shrinker, and I was cool with that too.
Yeah, me
But
too.
what do you call it? I thought this was a fun opening match. It's like, you know what it felt like this show, especially starting now, is like we're introducing all these new faces. You know?
Yes, at least a transition. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
transition. 'Cause
transition show. Yeah, very good.
I think I think when Hogan came back in '93, him and Vince knew like we got to move on from one another. So this is a goodbye tour. You know what I mean? Like I think he
Mhm.
already knew I'm moving away from Hogan no matter what. So
Yeah. I mean, I was like close to it. It's like a decade. You know, it's
I know,
fair.
but I could have done.
That's a long time. 10
I
years.
wanted more Hogan. I don't give a shit.
That's a
Dude,
long time,
if
brother.
Hogan never left, I would have kept like if they kept the belt on Hogan. Like let's say they kept doing like Hogan doesn't lose Yokozuna in '93 and he keeps the belt for like a year. Then he feuds with Shawn Michaels. Then he feuds with Diesel. Then he feuds with The Rock. I would have kept watching. Like I just never would have stopped watching. They would have had my money for my whole life. There never would have been a period where I stopped watching. But the when he left, they lost a lot of money from me. So they got it all back because
They got it all back. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good thing to think about. Like if Hogan just stayed, if Junior was like, "You're gonna stay until you retire," on
I would have
top,
kept watching. I would have been
I
happy.
wonder if it would have helped business or made it worse.
Let me tell you, I know for a fact, like me and five of my friends never, we would have watched every single week, no matter what. We would
I'll
have,
tell you one thing: it would have WCW would never have gotten on top.
no, no.
Yeah, exactly. So that's saying something. Maybe if you kept them there, they would still be on top.
I think he gave up on Hogan and Savage way too fast. I do because
Oh,
Savage
I think
was having
everybody
great
thinks that. Yeah.
matches in '98. Like Savage had great matches until the wheels fell off. So like I think he
I
gave up on
thought
Savage.
I thought he gave up. That's his MO, Junior. He gives up on talent way too fast. Like he was phoning it in with like Big Show way too early.
Well,
You
I
know?
think I think when Hogan became Hogan, he realized Hogan's more powerful than me, and he's scared to ever let anyone. And I think the company now, even now that he's gone, he's not gone, but I think the company is aware we don't want you to become more powerful than us, because Hogan made a difference, and
Hmm.
I think they want to keep you just so that if there is a case where Roman Reigns, let's say tomorrow, Roman Reigns is like, fuck this, I quit, and I have evidence that Vince touched my pee-pee, so you need to give me an immediate release so I can show up on Collision Saturday. And he gets it, that even if Roman Reigns shows up on Collision Saturday, it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. You got nobody can be bigger than the brand, right?
Because Hogan almost stopped them. Hogan almost crushed them. And
Exactly.
who was Vince gonna poop on?
Yeah, exactly. And he loves to poop.
Mhm.
So Sean Mooney, he's in the back in the locker room and he warns the viewers about this next match. You gotta be the viewer warning for the nightstick match, and he invites Nails to talk, and Nails is drooling, and he's got such a deep voice. It sounds like those anonymous deep voices, like "Roo, roo, roo." I was like, "What the fuck is this? How he really talks?"
I hate
And
Nails.
he's like, "I've been waiting for you, boss man. I'm in a shit." And the funniest line he goes, "Boss man, you know how good of a climber I am." Made me laugh. What? You know how good of a climber I
I know.
like? That's very
Well,
funny.
because he climbed out of the jail.
Yeah, but I think it's just funny to be like, "I'm gonna kill you because you know how good of a climber. You know I
I
climb
would be
things
funny if Boss
well."
Man was like, fuck, he is a good climber. I'm so
Yeah,
scared.
it's so funny. It's just a funny thing to say. But it was a very. He's like, I'm gonna, he's very intense about beating up Boss Man.
Yeah.
Then they show this part was kind of weird. I don't know if they had it on DVD. So after that promo, they cut to the crowd, and there's this young girl. She's surrounded by dudes, and they focus in on her. Is she famous? I thought that was Alyssa Milano at first, but
No,
it's not.
it's a young Janelle. What's her name? Vince already knew what he was gonna do to her. God,
Oh my god! Oh my
like when
god!
you get older, I'm gonna poop on you.
Jeez. All right, so Mean Gene, he's with Boss Man, and Boss Man says Nails isn't innocent. He's lying about that, and he can't live with regular people. I was like, what? Like, and then he's like,
Criminal.
he just runs off. He just runs from the interview. And we're gonna go to our match number two, a match that I did want to see when I was a kid,
Mhm.
and it was the nightstick match, Nails versus the Boss Man. Before this match, it was on like Superstars where like Nails debuted and he just like beat the crap out of Bossman with the nightstick and he
Yeah.
chained him up and
Yeah.
Bossman's like drooling and stuff. When I was a kid, that actually scared me.
Nails has a great presence as but like he is just one of the worst WWE wrestlers WWF ever had.
Yeah, yeah,
Tough.
you're right. Absolutely. Yeah, great presence, but just not a good wrestler.
No.
Right off away from the beginning of this match, Nails tries to go up the pole to get the nightstick. This is like the first. Is this the first something on a pole match in WWF
I
pay per
mean,
view wise?
that's on pay-per-view. I
Yeah,
can't tell you about house shows and shit, but yeah.
yeah, but like on pay per view, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I wish I had never done this because like this is like a WCW thing, and I just
But
wish
I
it
mean,
like.
I kind of makes sense because of the storyline they built.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
you know
mad
what?
at it because like they didn't do ladders yet, so there
Mhm.
has to be a way. You can't like what are you supposed to do? Like have like fucking Vince McMahon hold it in the you know what I mean? Like you have
Yeah, but you know what? Like, and they did the pole match better than like WCW 100%. But it would be like if WCW did like this like Royal Rumble style match. I'm like, dude, that's a WWF match. Don't do it. You
I
know?
think well I think no I think a lot of territories did pole matches. I
I
think
know.
that
I
we have
hate
pole
them. They're
matches.
so lame. They're so
You know what
fucking
they
lame.
did? They did no they had flag matches where you had to go get your opponent's flag. That's a pole match. So WWF did do that. Flag it was called a flag match. And Hacksaw Hulk Hogan did a flag match.
Yeah, you're right. I guess.
Everyone did
But
pole
no, they're
matches.
a little different in the sense that like if you get it, it's over, right? In these stupid matches, it's not it. Like you get the coal miner's glove, the match is not over. You
I
get the
know,
fucking
but
nightstick, the
Mid
match is not
South,
over.
all the Kerry Von Erich's group did these matches. Everyone did these matches. It would be like nobody could
Yeah,
do a cage match because it would be like saying like, well, all the territories do cage matches, so you can't do a cage match.
yeah,
But
I
you know
get
what?
it.
Here's the deal. I will say this: they did establish that Nails is good at climbing, so he has an advantage. And this weapon, if Nails does get this weapon and like beats Bossman with a nice stick, it is like kind of like poetic justice because it's like I'm an inmate that you abused, and now I'm gonna fucking end your career with the thing you abused me with. So it's like,
You already beat him with the nightstick.
but
That's
now
super.
he's gonna beat him in a match, and then maybe he can go on and like have a little career. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
The thing
So
with
anyway,
Nails is once he stops being with Bossman, there's really no reason to have him around. You know?
no, there really isn't. This was like one of those things where like a gimmick like you can only use once and then you're kind of done, you
Yeah.
know? And it's kind of stupid. It's almost like Mordecai, you know,
Well,
once you do it
they
with.
did film a vignette. They did film Nails confronting Undertaker, right? And then
Yeah, yeah, I remember this. I remember the next one
got
was Undertaker. That
scrapped.
was stupid
I
too.
well, it got scrapped because of the Vince McMahon thing. So
Do you remember when they had this guy named Mordecai, the
yeah,
religious guy? And
yeah.
I was thinking, like, you know, he's gonna feud the Taker, and then after that, it's over.
But
I
then he
was
did it.
like,
He got
well,
fired.
who's he gonna do? Kurt Angle, God sent me to attack you. Like, it would be like, what is after that?
You know
So
what
anyway,
though? I mean, that's what he could. He could have said that. Kurt Angle, God sent me to attack you.
yeah, you're right. He knows you are raping black.
All right, he didn't rape. Come on, hey, oh, hey.
No,
Allegedly.
but with that one storyline, remember when he went? It was
Oh yeah, I'm
Sharmell.
gonna rape. What's her name? Yeah, he did say that.
Sharmell. Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought you meant like in real life.
No, no, no. It's a storyline. Storyline. The work, brother. So Nails is like in this match. He goes for the. He tries to climb the pole right away because you know he's good at climbing. The boss man stops him. As Ray mentioned, Nails is not really good of a wrestler, so there's just a lot of punching in this match. This match is just punching, punching, punching. Boss man tries to go up on top, and Nails like fucking throws him down, and Boss man, he fights off like a chin lock, and then when Nails goes up to the pole again, Boss man like makes him fall and crotches him on the turnbuckle. Then Boss man actually gets the nightstick. And Nails just walks into a bunch of hits nightstick. He just walks right into it. Then Nails gets the nightstick and he beats Bossman with it. Nobody's really dying from these nightstick hits, which
No.
they should though. Bossman hits the Bossman slam to win, and then nails one more time with the stick for good measure, and then Bossman. I guess Bossman winning proves that Nails wasn't innocent. Is that was
Yes,
that
that's
the
it.
point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
Nails,
was
nails,
guilty.
nails did his crime, and he's a piece of shit.
You lost, which proves that you've always been guilty.
Nail sucks. And let me tell you something. You know, people now are trying to say that Vince did assault him because of the stuff that's coming out with the lawsuit. That maybe Nails was telling the truth. No, dude. Nails, two things would be true. This man could be a piece of shit. Nails could be a piece of shit who can't wrestle. All right, and is also a liar. So
Yeah.
I don't think Vince was trying to sexually assault Nails out of everyone in the fucking company. And I also think that even if Vince McMahon, let's say Vince McMahon was sexually attracted to Nails, he would also know there's nothing I can do with this guy. There's no future with this guy. I think he would have tried a feud with The Undertaker, then fired him anyway. So Nails was garbage.
You know, if Nails had said back in 1992 or whatever
That
that
Vince tried
Vince
to poop on
McMahon,
me.
yeah, then that would be a different story. Because right now we would all believe it, right?
I mean, look, I think maybe Vince went to, like, let's say, I'm going to say Shawn Michaels for this. And this is me just guessing. I think Vince went to someone like Shawn Michaels, like, will you fuck this woman so I can watch? I can see something like that. But I don't, and I can see maybe him thinking, like, maybe I'll have Nails fuck a woman and I'll watch. But I don't think Vince McMahon would like try to sexually molest Nails in the booking room.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. Anything else you want to add about Nails or this nightstick
No,
match?
I'm glad we're done with Nails. Goodbye.
Greg. Mean Gene, he is with Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. And Gene brings up Mr. Perfect, and they show you a recap from Primetime where Mr. Perfect turns on Bobby Heenan after Bobby Heenan basically tells him, you got to do everything what Ric Flair tells you to do. And then Bobby Heenan slaps Mr. Perfect, and then Mr. Perfect grabs Heenan and pours water all over Heenan. And then Ric Flair cuts a promo on Ric
Perfect.
Flair and Razor Ramon. They cut a promo on basically classic heel promos on Mr. Perfect. And I thought Razor Ramon did a pretty decent Hispanic accent.
Ramon,
Chico, pretty decent Hispanic accent. Would you say you're a Mexican? What do you
Razor
think?
Ramon. Let me tell you something. Razor Ramon is what he comes out of the gate. I am not just a star. I'm a mega star. Like he such an upgrade from as the Diamond Stud. He comes across as such a fucking star in this company. Promo was good. You know, I got to give them credit. They were in a bind when Ultimate Warrior got fired. They were in a bind, and getting Mister Perfect to come back to the ring was a really smart move. I don't know where else they could, unless they had Bret Hart team with.
I was gonna say this felt like it came out of nowhere because Perfect is with Flair. They did this because they like Ultimate Warrior was gone and everything, and they're just like they need a partner for Macho Man.
Yeah, so what happened was Ultimate Warrior gets fired, and Vince he only has 4 pay-per-views, so it's 10 days. There's 10 days to find a replacement, and Vince wants like a shocking replacement, and he couldn't get anybody. And he goes to Mr. Perfect, can you wrestle again? He goes, well, I have this. He had a life insurance policy that kept
Lloyd's of London.
yeah, that kept paying as long as he didn't wrestle. And he
Yes.
the Vince, you have to pay me. You have to pay me like all this money, and I can probably come back. And Vince gave him all the money, and he came back.
Why didn't he just do Ric Flair, Razor Ramon versus Macho Man and Bret Hart?
Because he wanted like a holy shit moment, and everyone thought Mr. Perfect was done. Everyone thought like that was it for Mr. Perfect.
Mm.
So he wanted to justify. I could understand. There's no warrior, and you want to like give a big holy shit replacement. And I get when I remember reading when that Mr. Perfect could never wrestle again. So when he wrestled, it's like holy fuck, this guy's back. So I mean, it was kind of it was worth it. I think it was a good holy shit moment. Bret Hart would have been fine, but I think
It would
like
have made more sense too because he took the title from Ric Flair and you know
yeah, but I think the Mr. Perfect thing is the way they did it, where Bobby Heenan's like, "You can't wrestle. You're not even that good anymore." Mr. Perfect, like, "What the fuck did you say about me?" I think they handled it pretty well, and the way Macho Man and Mr. Perfect go back and forth, basically, it's like Mr. Perfect's like, "You think I'm a loser, and I'm not a loser, guys. Like, you know what? Like, I'm tired of being second fiddle."
yeah, it just kind of was kind of weird. Like this is the guy who's been like making like Randy Savage's life a living hell, and all of a sudden, like right? Like
Yeah,
he's one of the guys making his life a living hell,
I
and
know, but
just like
it's
teaming with him. So to me, it still feels kind of out of nowhere. I understand now why they had to do it, but it still feels a little weird. I'm like, I don't know why Bret Hart just couldn't have filled that role, but
because
whatever.
nobody would have cared. I think if Bret Hart did it.
That's probably right too. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
people, because again, it would be like Daniel Bryan coming back like 2017. People thought that he's retired. Like that's it. He's going to become a manager full time and a commentator. He's never going to wrestle again. And so suddenly, like, he's wrestling it, he's in the main event. That's like, oh fuck, I gotta get this pay-per-view. I thought this guy was done. You know?
I think it would have been cool too if they maybe elevated somebody. Like,
I know. But you understand what I'm saying? At the time, we thought he was retired.
yeah, no, I remember. I remember when I was a kid and I was like, "Holy shit, he's back!" He was already doing commentary and he's back, and I was like, all right." But anyway, let's go to move on to match number 3: Rick the Model Martel versus the undefeated at this time Tatanka,
Yeah.
and yeah, they're fighting over feathers, not just any feathers, eagle feathers, 2 of them.
I know. That's what Native Americans love. They love eagle feathers.
Yeah, especially if there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Martel, in this match, Martel stun guns Tatanka, and he takes control after doing that, and he's beating on Tatanka. And midway into this match, Doink the Clown shows up,
Yeah.
and he makes like a balloon dog and everything. And he's dude, he did that balloon animals pretty good. It was pretty fast, and I was like, oh, he's pretty talented with this.
Yeah.
He was a good clown.
He was
Tatanka
he was born
started.
to that role. That was his Undertaker, and he was too stupid to realize it. Matt Bourne.
No, so in the dark side of the ring of Matt Bourne, he totally knew this was like he was born to do this role and everything, and this how good this role was. But the guy just couldn't stop doing drugs.
I know.
Like, he just could not
Dude,
stop doing drugs. I
Doink,
don't.
when I'm watching this match, when I watch, I'm like, Doink, I was thinking to myself, like, Doink should have been in the company for like 10 years. Like,
Yeah,
it should
yeah,
be like one of those characters. I'm telling they should bring back Doink tomorrow. Like, Doink should be,
yeah.
they
They
should
should.
make someone
Doink,
Doink.
Doink should be like, you know how like in New Japan Pro Wrestling, they will always have somebody under a tiger mask,
Yeah.
right? Like,
You
and like, you retire from the role and they pass it on to a younger guy and so forth. That should be Doink the Clown.
know
And when
you know who I'd make Doink? Drag.
when you are Doink the Clown, you take your own personal take and you make it your own, right? That's how they should do it.
You know who I'd make Doink? Dragovich, the NXT champion. I turned him into Doink.
That's
Because
not a bad idea.
Doink has to, the key to Doink, and this is why Matt Bourne made it work, and no one else did. The key to Doink, he has to also be a great wrestler. He can't be a mediocre
Yeah.
wrestler. He's got to be like a top. It's got to be like one of the best wrestlers in the company. Is also
Yeah. I could also see Brian Pillman Jr. in that role too. I don't think that'll be that bad.
It'd be really funny.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to get him out of that Brian Pillman like
Yeah,
shadow.
but
I
he's
want,
not. Because the key, like when you watch some of these old Doink matches, Bobby Heenan keeps going like, "This guy's a really good wrestler. He's not just a fucking stupid clown. Like, who is this guy? Like, this guy's really good in the ring." And I think that's the key to Doink is he has to be good in the ring.
yeah. By the way, in that dark side, when he gets fired and he just can't be Doink, it does like make him spiral more. Like that's how much he knew it was good, and he was just like, "Oh, I can't be like this." But you know what, dudes? Hey, lesson learned: don't stop doing the fucking drugs. You know?
Just be Doink.
Yeah. All right. So Tatanka, he starts firing back, including a very Ricky Steamboat like arm drag.
Mm-hmm.
And but then he gets sent over the top rope onto the floor, and somewhere Bill Watts like lost his shit over that.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
This
Bobby Heenan
bullshit.
throughout this whole match, Bobby Heenan keeps stuttering Tatanka's name, Tatanka, which I know it's fucking stupid, but that shit was funny to me. He
Yeah.
went Tatanka. Yeah, and here's the thing: you're right about this. Junior no sells it every time, and it's like if it was Gorilla Monsoon, he would have called him out. You know, uh, they make a lot of, you know what, they talked about the racism. They make a lot of like Native American Indian references that like, like, oh, he's on a warpath and shit like that. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the? They didn't block any of that out. So
No, because I'm sure a bunch of white liberals took out they don't consider like anti Native American or anti Chinese stuff racism. They just always look as black stuff. So
yeah, I will say this. It didn't age well, but when I was a kid, I was really into this. Like I was like, yeah, like I was like, I
I'll
love
tell you,
Tatanka.
this match didn't age well. This match keeps going on and on and on.
Yeah. Tatanka hits a Samoan drop, his finisher, for the win, and then he gets his 2 feathers back. Doink the Clown gives the balloon to somebody and then pops it right away, and he runs away laughing, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
What did you think about Doink the Clown or this
I
match?
thought the match wasn't that good, but I did enjoy seeing Doink. So I thought this match was very average. I kind of felt like it was just there to kill time. And I used to love Tatanka, but this match wasn't that good. So far, the two Martel Tatanka matches haven't really done much for me. So
I will say Martel. I like Rick Martel and I like doing Tonka. Rick Martel seems to be in a position now where he's kind of like a gatekeeper, you know?
yeah. Hmm.
And I guess it's fair because he's been around since the 80s, like
Yeah.
early 80s, so I get he's older. But I always felt like they could have done more Rick Martel, but I guess that's his role right now, you know?
Yeah, I think they always saw him as the mid card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Sean Mooney, he is with Randy Savage and Mr. Perfect. And Mr. Perfect cuts a promo on Ric Flair and how I don't walk in your shadow and you walk in mine. And he talks about how Razor Ramon stinks and how Bobby Heenan was the one holding him back all this time. And I remember the whole time I'm like, what was Plan B? Didn't they have a Plan B? Like, is this Plan B? I was thinking, maybe this is Plan
Well,
B.
no,
I have no
Plan B
idea.
was Razor Ramon cost the belt,
Ah,
and then
thanks.
Warrior and Savage are teaming up to take out this group. And then Warrior got fired, so suddenly Mr. Perfect now hates Ric Flair. So
Yeah. So Macho Man says in this promo, he goes, I don't like you, Mr. Perfect. But here's two things about you. Number one, Ric Flair and Razor Ramon the best out of anybody, right? And
yeah,
number two, I also think you're better than both of them. I was like, okay. It's kind of strange. Didn't really flow to me, but I'm getting it. It is what it is.
it is
Making
what it is.
salad. Match number 4, Ric Flair and Razor Ramon versus Macho Man and Mr. Perfect. Macho Man gets in the mic and introduces his partner, Mr. Perfect, and he comes out and so sad. There's no one for him to throw a towel to.
I
So
know.
he actually, when he gets in the ring, he throws it to Razor Ramon. I'm gonna miss that
They
when he
do
would throw the towel.
they do treat his return like a big deal, which I thought was cool. They treat it like
Yeah,
yeah,
like they slow get out of the curtain and everything, so everyone's like, is
yeah.
he actually gonna show up or not? Yeah.
It did when I back then I did think like are they gonna give Mr. Perfect the titles? I thought like this is the road for him to get the belt when he came back because I was like, oh, they're treating him like a really big deal and he's a good guy now. Maybe he'll get the belt, you know?
Mr. Perfect and Razor Ramon, they start the match, and then he chops Ric Flair while he's on the apron. And Ric Flair wants him real bad because of that. And when he gets in, he just starts bumping for Mr. Perfect, man.
Yeah.
And then he starts bumping for Savage. And Ric Flair was a bumping machine. He's just boom, hit, drop, boom, hit, drop. And then finally, while the referee is distracted, the heels start getting an advantage on Savage as Razor Ramon starts working all over him. Mr. Perfect, in the middle of this match, while Savage is getting beat up, he just starts walking out, and everyone's booing him. And then he turns and he looks, and he's watching Savage get beat on, and Savage is already busted open. He's bleeding, which I'm sure Junior really liked.
I love it.
Mr. Perfect decides to go back, and he says, "You know what? I wanna watch Randy Savage getting beat up and close."
I think it was Mr. Perfect being like, do I really want to do this? Maybe I made a mistake and then
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
they Vince could have done a better job being like maybe Mr. Perfect has been evil this entire time we've known him. He's never been a good guy. Maybe he just wants to like not be a good. Oh, they should have done more of that. Instead, they almost like Bobby was like he's a coward. He's trying to be a coward. I'm like that's not the way to
I
say.
think maybe he would have done that, but then when he saw Macho Man bleeding from the board, I think he got pissed off and he just forgot everything.
It. Yeah,
Maybe. I know. Yeah, it's that they're trying to do that thing where, like, when Roddy Piper held up the fucking bell and he was about to hit Bret Hart, and he's like looking around the fans and everything. It felt like that, like, oh, should I go back to my old ways? No, I can't. I'm a changed man now. Situation. But
yeah.
anyways, Randy Savage, he finally dumps Ric Flair off the top rope, and the crowd is going crazy for him to make the hot tag. And finally, Mr. Perfect comes in. He starts attacking Razor Ramon. Flair and Razor Ramon, they're both selling for Mr. Perfect, but I think it's like they're both really overselling.
Mhm.
Like, it was almost comical the way they were jumping around and shit. It was kind of too much for me. Ric Flair and then Savage, they go outside, and then Flair hits Savage with one of the weakest looking chair shots I've ever seen. Um, Razor Ramon and Mr. Perfect are back in the ring, and Perfect accidentally bumps the referee outside, and the second referee comes in, and Mr. Perfect hits his finishing move, the Perfect Plex, but there's no referee.
Mhm.
Mr. Perfect gets another perfect plex, this time on Ric Flair, and the referees are slow to count and doesn't get a 3 count. But then Earl Hebner starts calling for the bell, and then Flair puts the figure four on Mr. Perfect, and then Savage comes back and saves Mr. Perfect, and the referee basically says Savage and Mr. Perfect win by DQ. What did you think about this hot mess?
I thought it was a really good match. I got to give Mr. Perfect credit. 10 days before this, he thinks he's retired. He thinks he's not wrestling ever again, and he did really good. He did a really good job. I have to, and Razor Ramon also did a really good job. Here's the other reason why I think they had Mr. Perfect this match. I remembered this during the match. Scott Hall was his tag team partner, and Kurt Hennig was his mentor. They were very close. So
Up in the AWA.
in the AWA. So it made sense. And I think Kurt Hennig pushed for Razor Ramon to get hired. So if anyone's going to make this guy look good and help put on a great match and help this guy like hide his ring rust, it's going to be one of his best friends, Razor Ramon. Razor Ramon's not.
Weren't they tag team champions in the
Yeah.
AWA?
Yeah. So Razor is like, hey, in 10 days, hey, I know you thought you're going to wrestle Ultimate Warrior. It's actually going to be Kurt Hennig, and he hasn't wrestled in a year and a half. He's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking have my working boots on. I'm gonna make you look good. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna make you look an idiot. I think, it's really crazy to me how much better Scott Hall is in the ring from WCW to here. I mean, he really does look like he belongs as the guy. And he doesn't become the guy, but like he looked really good. The ending was kind of stupid, but you have to remember back then, and it's what I realized, fans actually liked it. They saw a win as a win, so they saw a DQ win as, oh, they actually did win. They don't see it as like a straight
Okay.
shot.
Yeah. I did not like this match, and I think the ending has a large part to do with it.
Yeah, you don't like
I
screwy fans.
also thought some of that bumping was just ridiculous looking. Some of that was just like,
Well,
like I was like,
I think they were worried that this guy's gonna be rusty or he's not gonna hit as hard. So I
yeah,
think they overcompensated.
it was a little too much, but
Yeah.
um, still not the worst thing I've ever seen. It was like I was like, yeah, it's okay. It is
I
what it
mean,
is.
the problem is the whole company is geared towards Ultimate Warrior, and they have to pivot. And there's a guy that hasn't wrestled. He thought he was never gonna wrestle. And then they also can't make this the main event anymore because they don't know what they have. So like, yeah, this is a screwy pay-per-view, but like, you know, Warrior shouldn't have been doing the drugs they told him not to do. So
I would say this was probably the hottest match of the night,
it
right? It
was,
was
yeah,
like,
because
yeah,
people
it was.
again,
This was like the big fight feel kind of match.
people were
After this
pumped.
match, by the way, Mean Gene, he is with Ric Flair and Razor Ramon,
They
and
did a good
Flair
promo.
is fucking pissed off. He looks so mad, right? It's acting, but it's some good acting. He
Yeah,
looks so pissed off that he lost, and
yeah.
he's telling Gene, "Shut up." He goes like, "Shut." He says it like twice, but the way he says it, it sounds like someone who would. It sounds like a shut up you would really say when you're mad, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And Razor Ramon, his promo was kind of generic. He does that whole like, you ask the guy who last person who crossed me if you can find his body, like some generic promo. But man, Ric Flair was so like Ric Flair. He is so good, you know.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty good promo. You know what? It was weird that Mean Gene, they had like Mean Gene like in a shitty, weird area. Like he wasn't like the main interviewer of this show. He's like kind of like,
Well, in this scene, it was like right after the match
I know,
ended,
but
so
even yeah, he did the same thing with the Big Boss. He's like by the entrance. I don't know, but it was good. It was a good promo. The thing about it is that people were like, yeah, like people were very excited for the Ultimate Maniacs. That was the name of the Warrior and Savage team to fight Razor and Ric Flair, and that was a big, and to lose it so close to the show, like this whole thing was a clusterfuck. And I think like based on everything they had working against them, I thought they did a pretty good job. So
no, you're right. If you don't know the backstory,
yeah.
it still comes off like that's a good show. Like you wouldn't have been like, well, this make no absolute no sense and shit like that. Like because like when that happens with WCW, it's really glaring. You know,
Yeah.
like what you know, right? Like I don't know how to go. What was that whole thing with like like the Nikita Koloff when fucking Magnum TA couldn't wrestle. It
Yeah,
just kind
yeah,
of was like
yeah, yeah.
really out of nowhere. When Ric Flair leaves, what happens? It's like Lex Luger versus like Sting or something like that. Is it?
But Vince's philosophy is if he can't deliver on the main event, he wants to give you an even bigger main event. So could Boss Man have been the partner? Could Earthquake have been the partner? Could there could have been a lot of guys the partner, but it's not bigger than Warrior. And this was, I think, the only thing he knew was bigger than Warrior. So
Yeah, and like I said, like if your back's up against the wall and you're kind of like you got left with like just like a change at the last minute, this was a very good job of just like, fuck, we're gonna do our best, and it's still very entertaining.
yeah.
We're gonna go to our fifth match, which I found very very entertaining. There's geishas in the ring, and Mr. Fuji leads out a Yokozuna. He gets the
Huzzah!
dark geishas, and then when he disrobes, you can hear a reaction from the people in awe of how fat this guy is. Just like him disrobing used to get like a huge reaction. You know that? Um, and it's Yokozuna versus Virgil. And Virgil, he gets some hits on Yokozuna, but Yokozuna hits a devastating sidewalk slam and then a fucking leg drop. And then somehow they make it to the corner, and Virgil tries to roll up Yokozuna, and then Yokozuna just sits on him,
Oh
right?
my god, yeah.
And then Yokozuna splashes him in the corner, and then he does the bonsai drop for the win. Every single move that Yokozuna hit, and he only hit like 6 moves, like the moves I just mentioned, they all got a big reaction. Like when he hit that leg drop, the sidewalk slam, everybody was like, "Oh my god!" It was like Virgil was killed every single time this
I
move
know.
happened. Great, great match. Like this is a match that should get 5 stars because it's like you know why? Because it's a match going like this is how we're introducing this guy, right? And this
Yeah.
is I can't think of a better
This
introduction.
this was basically like this is the guy now, and you all need to fucking recognize that this guy is trouble. And it was a great
Yeah,
wash. It was a great introduction. Vince McMahon was racist a little. It was really fun. Yokozuna, the great thing about Yokozuna, and it falls apart because he can't stop eating, is he's a fat guy, but he moves really fucking fast.
oh my god, yeah, yeah,
He
and
was really good, man.
yeah, I would say this might be probably the second best match on the show
Wow. Okay.
because it does so much. Like you have
Yeah.
to like don't think of it as like a fucking squash match. Like people like oh squash match. Yeah, but it does what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make this guy look devastating, right?
Yeah.
And I got the whole sense of this match. I was like, this guy is a fucking beast. And I could tell I wasn't the only one. The audience was going, they were like moaning for every single move
Yeah.
he hit. It was insane. So I think this was like second best. It was really, really
Really, really
uh,
good squash. Really good squash.
yeah, very good squash. Virgil's credit, he did well too.
Was
But
this
I think
Virgil's
it was
other best
because
match besides SummerSlam 91?
but I think it was because many of those moves really did hurt.
Yeah.
Like you could hear him go like, ah, and then I'm like, maybe that was good stuff by Virgil. But I'm like,
Vince,
Virgil
Vince,
ain't that good.
Vince told Yokozuna in the back, hit him for real. Hit him for real.
I
Fuck.
mean, you know that one time when Virgil tried to roll him up and he just sits on him? I mean, that was for real. He just really sat on
Yeah.
it. Oh my god. I would what would you rather do? Like let Yokozuna really sit on you or get shit on the head by Vince McMahon?
Oh, let Yokozuna sit on me. Come on.
All right. John Mooney, he is with Randy Savage and Mr. Perfect. And Mr. Perfect pulls out some raw turkeys and he goes, oh, this one's for you, Flair. This one's for you, Razor. And then he has like a small one for Bobby Heenan. Oh, like so much raw turkey and birds are touching it.
Thanksgiving, though. Remember.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. The Beverly Brothers, they come out with a genius, and I love the Beverly Brothers theme song. They had a great theme.
That's a pretty good song. I heard it and I was like, this is actually really good.
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't fit them.
No.
It doesn't fit them. It's just like this is like the theme that they should have gave like I don't know the high energy or something like
Yeah,
that. It was
it's really good, though. It's really, really good.
really good. Yeah. Match number 6 is the only real Survivor Series match. The Beverly Brothers and the tag team champions, Money Incorporated, with Jimmy Hart versus the Natural Disasters and a newly turned good guy turned Nasty Boys. Blake Beverly, and I forget which one is Von Wagner's father. Is it Blake or is it? Well, who the fuck cares?
Who cares? What do
Yeah, Blake Beverly and Typhoon start the match, and then Jerry Sags comes in, and Jerry Sags hits a great pump handle slam on Butte for a great reaction. Sags was very underrated. Jerry Sags.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's better than Brian Knobs. Sags gets beat on, and then we get a nasties chant. Earthquake tags in, he cleans house, but everything falls apart, and then Quake hits the splash on Blake for the Beverly Brothers to get eliminated. So a little different than a traditional Survivor Series because these are all tag teams. If one member gets, actually we've seen this before, yeah, but one more member gets eliminated, pinned, the whole tag team is gone. So now Money Incorporated is in there against 4 men. But because 2 of those guys are Earthquake and Typhoon, it's really like you're in there with 6 men.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Money Incorporated get the upper hand on Earthquake, and we get an Irwin chant multiple times. He's over, Oos. I'm telling you. People are chanting his name. He's over.
I don't like our IRS.
Our IRS was a great heel, brother. He was a great heel.
I don't like it.
Bobby Heenan, I forget, in the middle of this match, they talk about Mr. Perfect, and Bobby Heenan makes a reference to Lloyd's of London. Did you hear that one?
Yeah, that was.
I'm gonna need Lloyd's of London. And then Typhoon hot tags in, and man, he's like the least popular member. Like,
which is crazy. I love Typhoon.
What?
I love Typhoon.
I love Typhoon, but he didn't really get a good reaction in this crowd. Like, from out of all the 4 good guys, like Earthquake gets a big reaction. Nasty Boys were really popular. Typhoon was always just like, with Earthquake, he was just like the smaller Earthquake. You know? But I like
Earthquake was a better worker.
Yeah, Earthquake was better too, though. Yeah,
Earthquake's a better worker.
Yeah, so Earthquake's bigger. Not only is he bigger, but he's also better. So it's like kind of like, yeah. But anyway, man, this is a time period in WWF where I like every single tag team. I like the Nasty Boys. I like Money Inc. I like
all the tag, even the Bushwhackers, and they're all over. They're all over.
They all have something. Like, even the Beverly Brothers, they stink, but at least they got a great theme, you know?
Yeah, and but then you also have High Energy, like.
Hey, I loved High Energy, yeah. High Shrinkers, right?
And if you think about it, it's even this good without the LOD, without the Rockers, without the Hart Foundation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Steiners are coming in at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how, like, later on, Junior loses so many brain cells that he stops thinking tag teams are worth it. You know? When he was so invested.
Somebody must have forced him to watch Great American Bash 92. That's why he thought that.
I wonder what happened where the transition he was like, tag teams suck balls. It was around
94 he starts thinking that.
No, I mean, like, when they had the Edge and Christian Hardys and Dudleys and stuff in the New Age Outlaws, that was a hot period too.
The New Age Outlaws bring it back. There's not a lot of good tag teams between 94 and 97. The New Age Outlaws really do bring it back.
Yeah. But
you can say what you want about them, but they were the biggest tag team since the Steiners at that point. Like they really do bring back tag team wrestling. They're not that good, but they bring it back.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right. In that middle 90s period, there's a lot of makeshift tag teams that I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of tag teams that like they had the
just 2 random dudes put together, right?
Yeah,
Except
or they just like the Godwins and the Headbangers. They're like, but then the New Age Outlaws, and then the Dudleys show up, and then Edge and Christian, and
yeah. Anyways, Typhoon hot tags in, he cleans up, and then Nasties, they send DiBiase out the ring. But while the referee's kind of distracted, getting Nasty Boys back in the corner, DiBiase trips up Typhoon, and then IRS drops an elbow on his head and then puts his feet on the ropes for the cover to eliminate the natural disasters. But as soon as they eliminate them, Jerry Sags rolls up IRS right away for the win. And then we see the Nasties kind of like facing off against the Money Incorporated. So it looks like the Nasty Boys are like the #1 contenders for the tag team titles.
And then they leave months later.
What did you think about this match, man?
It was all right. I wish the rules had been. I was annoyed about this as a kid. I'm still annoyed about it. I wish the rules had been you have to eliminate all 4 guys. Like it aggravates me that that wasn't the rules. I
Oh,
still,
you mean like one at a time? Yeah,
yeah, I still get annoyed. It was okay. It was
I
just really
agree.
long,
I agree.
and it's kind of like I don't know. Like I would rather you just not. I would rather you just not have an elimination match this show if you're not going to do it the right way. So
I agree. And do you remember like the very first Survivor Series where they had like fucking like 10 tag teams in there?
Mhm.
And then it was like you pin one guy, the whole tag team is gone, right?
Yeah.
But there you had no choice. You had like fucking 10 guys there,
Yeah,
right?
if all the tag teams had been in this match and it hadn't just been, but like if it's 4-on-4, you're just being
Hmm.
lazy. I don't know. It would have meant more to me like if you know what it would have been more fun if you had done like just Nasty Boys versus Money Inc.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like when you kind of do it like this, it's just like it almost felt like, "Wait, are you guys short on time? Is that why you have to do it like this?" It's
It
weird.
just felt like he kind of was like we have to do one of these matches to keep the tradition going, but I really don't want to do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it kind of. Yeah, I can see that. We see Tatanka, Mr. Perfect, and Randy Savage. They're on the hotline and they're talking to fans. Did you really get to talk to them if you called this number?
I never called a number. I think you did. Yes. I think it wasn't you talking to them. I think they just are you just listen to them talk to you. Like, yeah. You're not sitting there
That's kind of
talking.
funny. Uh, so we get a recap of Kamala versus Undertaker, where they show you that Kamala's really scared of coffins, which was very fun to see. I don't know, something about Kamala being scared of coffins was kind of fun, you know?
Kamala has good reactions. He's a good guy.
Yeah, yeah, he makes good reactions. Yeah. And under they show you Undertaker making Kamala's coffin. We're gonna go right to our seventh match. It's a coffin match.
Yeah.
This was the first coffin match, I'm
Yeah,
assuming, right?
they start calling it casket after this. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Kamala with Kimchi and Harvey Whippleman versus Undertaker with Paul Bear, and they roll out this really, really large coffin. Lots of Undertaker signs, lots of people cosplay dressed as Undertaker. He is over like IRS. It was super over with the
He's
fans.
over like IRS. That's what you said.
Yeah. Kamala is scared of the Undertaker and he starts running from him on the outside. But then back in the ring, when they get back in the ring, Kamala's taking all these shots. Undertaker is no selling everything. But eventually, while they're on the outside, he starts selling Kamala's chops. Kamala hits him with a chair shot on the outside, and then back in the ring, he body slams Undertaker. Undertaker gets up. Body slams him again, he gets up again. And then third time, he can't get up. And then Paul Bearer somehow gets on the apron, and Kimchi trips him up so the urn gets loose, rolls in the ring. And then Taker just pops up and picks up the urn and he clocks fucking Kamala with the urn and then he pins him for the win. It's not a tradition. It's the first one, so it's just like pinfall still win. And then he like rolled Kamala into the coffin, placed the lid on, and then he hammered nails in very, very poorly.
I think that was stupid. I'm glad they got rid of all that for the future casket
I
match.
am glad they got rid of that too because Undertaker was really bad at nailing in the nails.
Yeah.
It looked awful.
Also, it's
That's
like
why
you're on live TV. Yeah, no, I get it. They're probably
yeah, he's probably tired. He's sweating, and he's got these
yeah,
giant
and
boots
like you
on.
have to do this in like 3 minutes because we have to get right to the main event. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I like Kamal. I like Undertaker. They don't have good chemistry in the ring. Um, this
This
match
was better than their SummerSlam match,
was
though.
better than the SummerSlam match. It still wasn't that good to me. Right now, like in my mind, the show is kind of taking a big lull in terms of quality. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Nothing is like WCW levels bad,
no,
but
but
it's
it kind
not.
of just feels like a nice house show.
Yeah, it's not like amazing or anything either. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I feel like we're in this weird I don't know the past few pay-per-views of WWF that we're reviewing. It
There's
feels
no
like
hope.
yeah, they're just like coasting. They're on cruise control.
Yeah.
Nothing's terribly wrong, but nothing is exciting. It's just on cruise
Yeah.
control.
That's why I kind of started losing interest back then around this time.
I think a lot of people were losing
Yeah.
interest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ratings were really going down and stuff, I believe, around this
Yeah.
time. You attendance starts going down.
93 is
All
a
right,
really
so
bad,
then
93 and 94 are really bad years for them. So
yeah. Sean Mooney, he is with the new Intercontinental Champion, Shawn Michaels, and there's no Sherry because of Marty Jannetty returning, and then he nails her with the mirror by accident. Marty Jannetty, by the way, I have to bring this up. I am Facebook friends with him, of course,
Me too.
and he is possibly losing his leg, his foot.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
doctor is saying they might have to amputate it. It looks pretty bad. I keep a picture of his foot on my phone. I
That's
don't know. I can't stop looking at it. You want me to send it to you?
no, it's okay. I
It's
could look
horrific.
at it. I can find it. So,
Yeah, it's horrific. But anyway, Shawn Michaels, he gives a promo about Bret Hart saying, "You're so stupid, in this match, only your title's on the line. I've got nothing to lose." And I thought it was a pretty good promo by him. On the opposite end, we got Mean Gene with Bret Hart. And Gene starts going over all the guys Bret Hart's has beaten since he become champion, naming all these names because, oh, you beat him all with the sharpshooter. And Bret Hart started talking about, well, it's Thanksgiving, and I'm thankful about being champion. And so also Survivor Series, I'm going to be surviving. Um, it wasn't as good as Shawn Michaels' promo, and I'm
oh,
a big Bret Hart fan, but it just
Bret
wasn't.
Hart. Bret Hart wasn't the best at promos.
He wasn't, and it was kind of like he's not terrible, but he just isn't the best either.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
But we're gonna go into our final match. 8 match is a champion versus champion match, but only the WWF title is on the line. It
You know what was
is
also crazy to me as a kid? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you know what was also
no,
crazy?
it's okay. Yeah.
When Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan had a champion versus champion match, it was such a big deal. It just feels like, who cares? You know?
Yeah, it just doesn't like this is what I'm saying. There's no big fight feel.
Yeah, like this is your two champions and they're fighting in the main event, and like it feels like whoa, these are like two mid carders.
Why is that?
Because Shawn Michaels wasn't this because he was still a rocker, and the rockers were treated like goofs, and they were treated as a good tag team, but like you were kind of led to believe that like if they were apart, they were very weak men. You know what I mean? And Bret Hart was still not established. So like it's a good match, and now I can enjoy it because I know what happens in the future. But at the time, it's like, why is this guy fighting the world champion? It would, it's like why don't you have Luke? How about the next pay per view? It's Luke from the Bushwhackers versus Bret Hart. Like that's what it feels like to me back then.
Yeah, it just doesn't like it just doesn't feel like the
I mean,
way
I
it
can
just
listen from a pure in ring standpoint now in 2024. This is a very good match. It's very enjoyable. But
yeah.
back then, and you can feel in the crowd, this does not feel like a big deal.
No, it does not feel like a big time match,
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't. You know what's weird is because like you could watch like WrestleMania 3 and like Savage and Ricky Steamboat are fighting for the IC belt, and that's not the main event, but that feels like a big time match too,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
right? It's just like I don't, Bret Hart's my favorite wrestler of all time, but Bret Hart and HBK here, they just don't have it. It's just like it doesn't do anything for me. You could get they could just be holding up cardboard belts at this point. It just doesn't do anything for
It so
me.
didn't do it for me back when I was a kid that when I heard, again, I'm not watching wrestling, I hear the main event of 12 is Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels for 60 minutes. I'm like, that sounds like fucking torture. That
Yeah.
sounds like you're punishing me for watching the show. And when we get to that match is punishment, by the way.
I'll be honest with you, I don't even think this match is that good.
It's okay. It's all right.
It's all right. I think I've seen better matches between these two than
Mhm.
this one. But anyway, Bret Hart takes control early on, and then he keeps getting Shawn Michaels in a lock after lock. And then when Shawn Michaels gets a hammerlock on Bret, Bret is able to just send him outside. And then when they get back in the ring, he puts another arm lock on him. Shawn Michaels finally starts getting an advantage when he starts punching Bret in the face, but only for Bret Hart to put him back in another arm lock.
Mhm.
And Junior starts talking about how, like, oh, Bret Hart, he paid his dues for 8 long years. Oh, he paid his. They keep mentioning this, like, oh, he paid his dues in 8 long years.
I
They did
think
it in the
because
promo.
they realized that they've never just given the title to somebody who was kind of like always in the mid card. So they had
Hmm.
to like make it sound like he actually really worked for this. This
I
didn't.
guess so. I actually didn't like hearing that now. I just didn't like it. I don't know
No,
why.
because it just he's trying to get over Bret Hart as a big deal really fast.
Yeah, yeah. Something about like hearing it now, like it made it sound like he's in this position just because he has been loyal and he's been toiling, you know?
You know what? You
Instead
know
of
what it
like,
is? It reads like, I know that you don't think both guys should be the main event, but just please just bear with me. I have to make this work.
yeah, like these guys
I
deserve
I
it.
know I know little Ray Goots doesn't want to is like bored to tears, but please stay with me, please. You know?
Yeah, like what do you call it? It's like he's not the top guy because he is the most popular. It's just like he's just been here the longest. So he's like, yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels, he finally hits a stun gun on Brett, and Brett also gets run into the post shoulder first. So now with both moves happening, Shawn Michaels is in charge. And now it's Shawn Michaels' turn to put Bret Hart in a lock after lock. This time it's a headlock. It's headlock after headlock. I'm not enjoying this match at this point.
You're not enjoying.
Um, Bret Hart finally fires back and he sends Shawn Michaels from post to post, crotches on the top rope, and he starts his 5 moves of doom. And this is where it starts picking up a bit.
Yeah.
And they even end with a second turnbuckle suplex, and both men are down. But as they get up, there's a ref bump, and then gets sent outside, and then Shawn Michaels works on Bret on the outside. They get back in the ring, and Shawn Michaels is trying to put Bret away, but he can't. Eventually, Shawn Michaels hits a super kick, and that gets a really good reaction. This is back when the super kick was not his finishing move. What was his finishing move was a teardrop suplex, which he does hit, but then he still can't get the victory. Bret fires back, and they keep they trade turns getting caught up in the ropes, right? They just fucking like run into the ropes. They both get like caught up. Bret gets the worst of it, but then Bret eventually just gets the sharpshooter in for the win. This is the longest match of the night. It's 26 minutes. It's very slow in the beginning,
Mhm.
but it does pick up in the end. Afterwards, Santa Claus runs down and he hugs Bret
Oh,
Hart, and the fake snow starts falling, and they
that's
celebrate.
horrible. Horrible. They killed it. They killed Bret Hart dead with that. It just seems so like, please love him as much as you loved Hogan and Warrior. Please.
Yeah,
Please. Yeah,
you
I like look,
you like this match more than I did. Tell me what you liked about it. So,
I just was like it was just fun to watch these guys early in their career go have a little match. It was just, I can kind of divorce myself from how I felt. When I was a kid, I hated this match. I thought it was a waste of fucking time. And it was stupid to
mhm.
this. And it was stupid. I'll be honest with you. It was stupid to main event with this. I
Yeah,
would
yeah. You know what? Like at this point, I would have made
I would have had
that
Earthquake.
Flair tag team match should have been the main event.
No, I would have had if you had like, well, let's say like I have to have Bret Hart defend the title, right? I would have had it be Earthquake.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I meant like just these matches that you had on the show. It should have been the Flair match. If you just
That
have the
should be the
match,
main event, yeah.
yeah.
But I understand you want. I would have had. I would have turned Natural Disasters heel again, and I would have had Earthquake, and I would have had Bret Hart beat Earthquake, and then you know what would have done if he beats Earthquake. So the Bret Hart and Earthquake never had a one-on-one match. I think that would have been really good. But if Bret Hart beats Earthquake, then when you have Bret Hart versus Yokozuna, it could be like I beat Earthquake. I'm not scared of you. Because I think the problem with WrestleMania 9 when we got to it was that it was like I think Yokozuna could just destroy Bret Hart. Like this, like Bret Hart never like fought a big guy before. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, absolutely, yeah.
it was like kind of like what the fuck is this? Like when we got well, as a kid, I would have had Earthquake. But take myself out of that, and I'm just watching, and these two guys are gonna like ruin each other's lives. There's gonna be this feud that's gonna almost like destroy the company, all this shit. But just watching just these two guys wrestle a match, I thought it was like a fun way to kill 25 minutes. So it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst.
I think that's fair. Okay, that's fair. Now that we've watched this whole thing, I'm gonna go out on the limb and say that the Yokozuna match is the best match in the show.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And
I
I
will
would
say this.
say watch. I think you should watch that match to see how good Yokozuna watch, and you don't need to watch anything else on the show.
Well, I will say this. The matches that were designed to sell the show, which are Shawn versus Brett and the Macho Man tag, I think they deliver. I think the Yokozuna match delivers. The rest of the show's not that good. Here's the thing, though. Everything feels off. The show feels off. There's like something missing. even the matches that are good. And what's missing is Hogan and Warrior. It was not time to move out from them yet. They still had a lot left.
I can't argue with you. I can't argue with you at this point watching this. Yeah, I can't argue
Yeah,
with you.
it's like, yes, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart are the better workers than Ultimate Warrior at the very least. I'm not gonna say Hogan, but the Warrior still had there was still more to do with Warrior. There was still more to do with Hogan. Um, and I think maybe there was still more to do with Sid. In fact, I know it because Sid comes back and has great matches. So like
Wait, where is Sid at this point?
he left again. He had a fucking falling out like he always does.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I would say if you want to watch the two main matches, watch it. But if you're in the mood for old school WWF, you don't really need to watch this.
No,
It's a
no, you
weird
didn't.
period. It's a very weird period.
Mhm.
But we're gonna stay in the weird period for a little bit longer. So let's go over the next 4 weeks. Next week, Starrcade '92, Vader versus Sting, and another Battle Bowl tournament. Then we have Royal Rumble '93, which is Razor Ramon versus Bret Hart. Then we have Super Brawl 3, which is Sting versus Vader. And then in 4 weeks, we have WrestleMania 9, which is Bret Hart versus Yokozuna. What are you looking forward to?
Bret Hart versus Yoko, probably. You know what's so weird? When we started in 1992, WWF started off so hot. They had like Sid, they had Flair, they had everybody. And now by like we're in November, by year's end, I'm just like, ugh, what are you guys doing? You know, I'm just like, hurry up and
Yeah,
like I can't
no,
wait for
it's
I can't wait for the year to be over. It's so like, ugh.
they didn't follow through on a lot of, I mean, like a lot of things they had going, they kind of like fudged because either people left, people got fired, they didn't, yeah, they start off hot, the end of 91 is hot, and then like and 93, in my opinion, I think 93 is one of the worst years they were at.
I can't wait to get into that year now. I really am. Because that it would I would love to see WWF at their lowest to see how it compares to WWE at their lowest, which I think was around probably like 2017, 18, 19, like right before the start of AEW.
Okay, I will
That
say,
was a bad period, right? That's a bad period right before AEW
yeah.
starts.
Let me see. What are some of the worst years they've had? I would say 17 is bad. I think 14 is a really bad year. 14 is really bad. 2014. I don't like 2007. I think 2007 is not good. By the way, this is not on YouTube. I'm gonna end it with this. So I decided I can't sleep lately, so I put on I used to the WWE Blu-rays are like 4 or 5 hours long, 4 or 5 hours long, right? So I have this one called the Raw After Show, and what it is all these things that happened after Raw went off the air that have never been seen, and it's on this.
Ah, when the camera stopped rolling.
Yeah, and there's some stuff that's really good. Austin has some really good segments, but there's one segment Vince McMahon throws Fabulous Moolah a birthday party, and he has Trish, Lita, Stacy Keibler, and Tori Wilson bring out the cake. Then he forces Mark Jindrak to make out with her in the ring, and he forces like everyone to like thank her. Stephanie looks weirded out. When you know everything that's going on with Vince, it is a insanely creepy segment.
I gotta watch that.
It's not on YouTube.
Oh, you said it's not on YouTube?
Oh no, it's nowhere. It's on this Blu-ray.
Oh, fuck. What is it called?
Look at see if you can find it. It's Fabulous Moolah's 80th birthday party. Yeah, Vince McMahon throws Fabulous Moolah a surprise 80th birthday party.
Wow, I can't believe Moolah lived that long.
Well, she lives even longer. That's like she lives
No,
for
when
years.
you're evil, puts years on your line.
Yeah, evil never dies. But dude, it is like really weird. And Vince is like he's not like telling the wrestlers to come to the ring. He's like ordering them, and he like tells Stone Cold, "You sing Happy Birthday," and Stone Cold laughs. And you kind of see like Vince like show that I'm the boss to this guy. Like, no, I said sing happy birthday to her right now. And it's like, you're gonna fucking you're gonna suck this woman's titties, all you fucking carny losers. And they all like they almost look like scared, like they have to like it's very weird. It's really weird. I have a feeling if you're listening to this, if you find that Blu-ray in a thrift shop, buy it right away.
Wait, why did we? Why did this come up?
Oh, because I fell asleep to that Blu-ray and I woke up to that, to the birthday.
Oh.
I put because the Blu-ray, the disc 1 is 4 hours and 20 minutes. So I'm like, all right, that'll get me to sleep. And I fell asleep for like 2 hours and I woke up to that birthday party. It takes place in 2003, the birthday party. So, all right, guys, go join the Patreon. Goots Forever on Patreon. There's a link in the description. Go there. Follow me, Ray Goots Comedy. Follow Andrew Lee, Andrew Son of Lee. Yeah, and next week, Starcade 92. I know Andrew Lee's excited, right?
I hope so. We'll see. There's a lot of Japanese wrestlers on it, so hopefully I'll like that.
I think Great Mood is on it. All right, we'll see you next week for another Bill Watts show. Thank you, guys.